Alright. So there's a bit of a different video experimentation thing I'm trying to do because I'm curious if I can kind of maybe do these every now and then. It's not gonna be like the daily video, or not daily. I guess bi-daily is the best way to put how I put out my content in general, since I do 3 a week, but put a day in between for most of them. Anyways, that's besides the point. So for today's video discussion, I'm just gonna be talking about random, well, not random, but kind of semi-recent and potentially relevant to some, maybe not to others, about Marvel Rivals. You know, there's been the whole debacle with ranked in general. I can give some examples of my own personal take here. I'll show you guys my most current, let's see. Yeah, I've been kind of a bit of a more of a loss streak a little bit. Not quite a big loss streak. I usually don't let my games go too long. If I start going on a loss streak, I just kind of bail and come back the next day. But anyways, you know, a lot of people having a way harder time climbing this season. I think this is due to, like, a lot of people are throwing the words, you know, rank inflation, or other people are throwing around the fact that certain characters have gotten a bit strong, in particularly dive characters. And partially, both of them are true. More so the dive being strong this season. But honestly, I do believe it was generally easier to rank up Season 0 and Season 1. Mostly for supports. Yeah, I'm a support main myself mainly, but I do flex like to everything for the most part, and actually I've gotten a pretty decent streak today playing tank. Not a crazy streak, but better than some of my last games, that's for sure. But the reason I say support is a bit easier to climb, at least in the first first couple seasons, was like you didn't really have, like, the dives weren't very strong, you know, like, yeah, Black Panther was annoying back in the day, but technically he was even stronger in the first couple seasons. But here's where skill expression kind of came in. Like, people don't play Black Panther as, like, fast as they do now, and he's typically played way faster now than he used to. And to be honest, Black Panther's probably the weakest dive, and people are still very, very afraid of a Black Panther. But honestly, I would say, even though there's a very slight nerf very recently with Spider-Man, with the AoE of his uppercut being reduced, like, he's still, I would say, a better dive than Black Panther. Obviously, Iron Fist is very strong right now. Granted, I honestly feel that the reason he's strong is because people just don't stop shooting. Like, I've seen so many different people that I know and play with, people I just watch for fun or watch my friends play every now and then, and I notice when anyone plays support, like, they just don't stop shooting. Like, no one's taking damage shooting. Like, this is especially true for, I would say, people that main Cloak and Dagger and Rocket. I'm not sure why that is the case, but it's just a little observation I've noticed a lot of the time. Like, I get it with a little bit with Rocket, because you know, the balls usually they travel pretty fast, but if they're even a tiny bit hurt, they'll slow down. If you played Overwatch, it's kind of like how Moira healing balls work. But the thing with Rocket now, you don't really want to just spam because of how they changed how his heal works. Like, yeah, it's still gradual heals if anyone's near the ball, but if you actually shoot to hit the person that's hurt, you'll heal them a lot more nowadays. But people are still not used to it, I guess. So I see a lot of rockets that have to reload very constantly. And that's no good. You get your ult so much faster with rocket if you actually just shoot when you need to. Maybe a little more often than other supports, depending on the situation, but still. You only get 6 shots, and people just keep spamming. With Cloak and Dagger, I feel it's the same way, although their heal... Honestly, I feel Cloak and Dagger is probably one of the worst supports at the moment, just because their ult is surprisingly counterable. Because, you know, Magneto's pretty strong. Iron Man's okay, but he has the big advantage that he can actually kill all the support ults if you give them the chance to do it. Granted, a lot of the time, most tanks are good enough to not allow it, but you know, sometimes it can still happen. I get a little off track, but the main reason as I go back to it is since dive was not very strong, or people just didn't know how to actually work dive. You know, the first 2 seasons, supports kind of coasted. Like, I literally played only Invisible Woman the first season. Like, the first real season, rather. Like, season 1 is what I mean. And I just climbed, like, yeah, when I got to GM3, which is the rank I had on on Season 0, and then Season 0, I only played Strange. So you might be saying, yeah, you played strong characters, and sure, I can attest to that, I suppose, but, you know. Like, I also played a bit of Rocket in Season 1, which wasn't his best season, and people over-hated Rocket. Like, I get it. He wasn't the best healer back then, but he wasn't bad. It's just people didn't know how to actually perform with him well. But anyways, I climbed relatively easily, to be honest. Like, granted, I know a lot of people that watch me play, or my friends, you know I'm pretty good at the game. So it wouldn't be too crazy to think that it was just my personal skill. But this is, you know, this is still a team game. Like I'm keeping my team alive is mainly what I'm doing, which is fine as a support, but I always told, like, when I did you know, most people don't know, but I did a little coaching for my friend and her group when, if anyone heard about it, VTuber Rivals was a thing. Like, what was it, like, back in March, February, March? I forget exactly when it was. But she asked me for the favor. I was like, sure, I'll do it. Like, and this is something different and new. So I helped them out, and, you know, heal botting was a bit of an issue when it came to, and also reaction time, because, like, as a support, some people don't understand not only keeping yourself alive, but keeping the other support alive is probably the most important thing that you can do. Like, those 2 things are, like, the key to climbing as a support, along with ulting well. Ulting well is also big, especially in this game. I would say it's less so in, like, Overwatch. But in this, it's huge to know when to ult. It's just crazy how much value ults, though, have for supports. But even then, I did notice, like, when I coached them, a lot of them managed to climb. Like, you know, they never really took rank. Like, I don't take rank seriously. I have fun. I climb, and it's a good time for me. Like, obviously, I don't have. Sometimes I have my bad nights, and I don't go, like, positive, let's say, on my win rate. But, you know, I'm still having fun for the most part. I'll go into detail into that actually in a little while, because I had some interesting games the last 2 days, I'll say that. But yeah, with a little help and pointers and helping them practice, a couple of them managed to climb up. Like, you know, a couple of them got to gold, some actually got to plat. One made it to diamond, but I don't think she's played any rivals recently, so she's probably dropped all the way back down to probably bronze, since they haven't played, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, but it felt nice. But at the same time, it's also because I would say the majority of them prefer to play support. And, you know, keeping your team alive is super important, but it was a lot easier in those seasons. But now, a lot of people are kind of, some are complaining that dive is too strong, and certain dive characters are pretty strong right now. I'm not saying they're not. I'm mostly saying that people that used to just kind of casually just sit in the back line, just throwing their heels out and winning, are probably not used to getting the amount of pressure that they are now. Venom, Spidey, Captain America, Black Panther, and Iron Fist. The occasional Magic just kind of like jumping in there and destroying their asses. But the other thing that makes it worse for supports is a lot of people just don't turn around when, like, as someone that plays all three roles, I try my best, to keep helping people that need the help. Obviously, there are times I just can't do anything about it, like, if I'm, like, a tank, right? If I'm Magneto or, like, Emma Frost, I can usually help someone that's getting dove. If it's only one person, maybe even two, depending on who they are. But let's say I am, like, Strange, or maybe I'm a dive tank myself. I usually don't really play dive, but this is a bit of a hypothetical for that one. For example, if I'm a dive, well, I guess I technically play one dive tank, which is Captain America, and I'll go to that in a little bit. But let's say I'm jumping in there, I'm just punching their supports. My supports are getting punched and dove by more than one person. My team's gonna probably lose the fight overall unless I'm a god and manage to take out their supports and then run all the way back to my supports and help them out. Or the better option, it would be for my DPS teammates to try to help kill their dive as I'm diving their supports, because if I'm diving their supports, that means the front line or the divers don't have, support to help them out, keeping them alive or doing stuff that'll block damage incoming to them anyways. But yeah, I would say this is partially just how Marvel Rivals is kind of like, I don't know, like, dude, like, I feel like it's probably mostly because a lot of the people that joined in on Rivals come from very different games, right? Like, obviously, there's a big chunk of Overwatch that kind of jumped over to Rivals for a little while, and some of them stayed. I am one of those that stayed, because I used to play a lot of Overwatch before Marvel Rivals was a thing. I just knew Rivals was gonna exist, but I didn't really take it very seriously. But then some of my friends were like, let's try it out. I'm like, sure, whatever. And I ended up enjoying it probably more than Overwatch, just because, I don't know, like, the third person and the very different way heroes feel just felt nice, like, yeah, all the heroes are very different in Overwatch as well, but at the end of the day, it is a first-person shooter with abilities, primarily, I would say. Like, I don't know, that's just how I generally feel about it. It's not a bad game. Like, Overwatch has never been a bad game. I just have more fun, with Rivals, at the moment, at least. Maybe one day I'll go back to Overwatch, but, But anyways, kind of went a little off topic again. But going back to DPS has gotten a bit, it's a bit of a weird spot. I don't know how much this has changed slightly, because I believe, well, let me actually retrace my steps a bit here. So, like, at the start of Season 2, developers introduced basically performance ranked points, which, from what I understand, a lot of people hated back in Overwatch. I didn't play Overwatch 1 at all, and I played a bit of 2, but I think by the time I played 2, they didn't really have this system anymore. But from what I understand, it was hated, and I can totally understand why. Because, unfortunately, like good plays sometimes are just not reflected on the scoreboard, which, you know, how do systems figure out how many points you should get? Well, it's based on a certain stat on the scoreboard, depending on your role that you mainly played. So, people figured out that playing DPS was the way to go because, you know, final blows are what mainly counted as, weirdly enough, for all three roles, for like how many points you got on a win or how many points you lost on a loss. Basically, more kills equaled more points gained, and more kills also meant less points lost if you lost. So let's put DPS in a very advantageous position, and tanks could still kind of get by just because some tanks can actually get a decent chunk of kills, and I believe damage block was their secondary stat that like allowed them to still keep it kind of balanced. But supports were in a bit of a rut because, you know, their main stat, it would obviously be heals, but generally supports don't get a lot of final blows or even quote unquote the what I call assist kills in general. Like if I go back to some of the games I played like recently, right? For example, a very good example is this game I'm about to show you guys. This game that we won. My Rocket here. 25,000 heals, 1 final blow, 7 assist kills, 30 actual assists. I don't think let me check. Can I do this? Is it this one? No, it's this one. So he got 20 out of that. And what about this person? I believe it's this one. So they got 21. So they got the Cloak and Dagger got 1 extra point compared to Rocket. Probably it's either one of these two. The fact that they got, like, it's probably a bit of a combination, to be honest. They got a little bit more healing, way more damage, 1 extra final blow. The assist is very the samey, but assist kills, they got way more as well. But I think there's also a thing that they slightly changed a couple patches ago. I forget exactly if they said anything specifically, like how they rebalanced. I think this is in place already, and they might even go even harder on this once we hit season 2.5. But, for example, the very first ranked game I played this season, I went support, because that is my main role in general, but I'm trying to lean away from it, honestly. But, my team lost, and I lost 30. That's, like, unheard of. I don't think I've ever lost that much, like, ever, in this whole time Rival has been live. It's very strange. Like, even in season 1 and 0, like, I think the most I ever lost was like 25. I don't think I've lost more than that ever. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And now, I forget when exactly it was this patch, but I don't think I've ever lost that much ever again. But it was a bit of a bit of a shock, to be honest. Like, that was, like, gnarly, losing that much in one match. So I was like, well, I'll go back, and I got some wins, but I never went past, like, 20... Like, the max I got during that time was, like, 23, I think, like, on wins in general. And I usually went 20 or 21, I think. And even then, you can still see some of those, when I'll show you my most recent, like, run these last couple days. Let me see, 18, today's the 21st. Well, it's past midnight. But, so the last couple days, we'll go with that. But anyways, but yeah, I typically did not see more than 23s in general. Until I decided, well, you know what? Let's just stretch out a little more on actual rank, because I was flexing a lot in quick play while I was just chilling until season 2 started. So I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. And when I played some DPS and got wins, I typically got like 25s, even if I did okay. And I was like, okay, this is kind of unbalanced. Like, I am not the greatest DPS. Like, my friends will say I'm a monster, but at the ranks I'm playing in general, I'm probably above average, but I'm not gonna say I'm amazing at DPS. Like, yeah, I play Iron Man and have fun, and I get my kills, and I sometimes get my big ults. At the very least, I'll try to counter support ults, Cloak and Dagger, you know. The occasional Imbus Woman if I get lucky. Very rarely a Luna Snow. But, you know, like, I was like, well, I'll just stick with it, like, because, you know, it's generally getting me more points to win, even though I'm not the greatest. And I actually went to tank, and I actually got some really good tank games recently, actually. But anyways, digressing here. And, you know, everyone was crying because, you know, they were like, holy shit, like, I'm losing so many points on losses. Divers are eating my ass. Like, all the support players, basically, that went crazy. And I will say, like, look, I'm gonna touch on the tiny point with the whole Necro situation. Like, this is kind of like old news at this point. But people took it way too far, I would say. Like I watched Necros, like, where I never watched the clip that was, from what I understand, taken out of context, and not even like the word, like, and the people were putting words in his mouth from what I've seen. Like, I'm not here to defend the way he said it, like, at all, but like, people went way overboard. Like, all he said was, and kind of agree to an extent, like, support is the easiest role to play. Like, you can just put anyone on support and have them heal bot, and as long as they're not dying, like, and they're not missing their heals or their ults in big ways, like, they'll be okay there. But try to put one of the support players that only play support, try to put them on DPS or tank, and they probably won't do as well. And I'm not saying you can't be skillful on support. I'm a support main, goddammit. Like, but you have to understand, it's way easier to heal your friends and allies than it is to get kills on an enemy team, especially if your aim's not that great. Oops, I pressed enter on accident. I have to go back to my thing. History and comp. There we go. Anyways. Like, even tanking, like, can be a lot harder than supporting. Like, people think tanks, oh, just walk up with your shield. Try to make space. Like, people throw around the words, like, you know, make space. Like, this phrase, make space. Some people don't even understand what that even means. They just throw it around and expect people to figure it out. I'm not really a person to lose my cool, like, at all. But, like, from what I understand, Necros really only said that support's the easiest role to play. And probably, you know, because of that, a lot of people got a bit of inflated egos when they managed to reach pretty high ranks. It's ranks in Rivals are very strange. Like, you know, we have the bronze through gold, plat, diamond. Like, those are pretty standard. And diamond's considered, like, the higher end. And then we got GM, and then we got Celestial, and then, like, the top, which is Eternity, one above all. But from what I've seen this season at least, I would say definitely there was a lot more people in Grandmaster than there should be. And even though Grandmaster is a good high rank, like I would say some people probably reached it way too easily. And some people throw blame at the fact that, the rank decay did not happen for 1.5. And I partially believe it as well, but here's the thing. There's a couple of things actually that people need to consider. Generally, Marvel Rivals is definitely a more casual experience. And this is a free-to-play game. Like, the thing that'll keep this game going, it's definitely not that competitive scene. Like, yeah, there's plenty of people that play ranked. I'm not saying don't listen to them. But people need to understand that this is always from what I understand, this has always been more of a casual leaning game. Like, the developers seem to be pretty good at, like, listening to the comp side of things. But at the end of the day, this is more of a casual game. And people need to understand this. Because if the casual players leave and they're not having a good time, they'll end up leaving. Which means less player base, which means longer queue times, which means a bunch of other problems. And I believe Overwatch 1 at least ran into a similar problem when, like, people were done having fun, but for different reasons, obviously. But people were not having fun, and but some people stuck around and so on. But yeah, but as I said, if the casual players leave this game in big waves, the game's gonna be in trouble because, as a free-to-play game, the only way to get money from the game is for people to buy stuff from the game, aka skins or the battle pass and so on. And typically, the casual players tend to be the ones that buy more, with a portion of the more hardcore ranked players doing so as well. I'm not one of those. I don't buy anything in these games. If you ever see me have skins in these games, I either use the currency that I can earn myself, or I got it from an event. Like, that's the only two are. In the third and more rare case, someone actually gifted me a skin, but that's super, super rare. Anyways. So I'm a player that, NetEase does not make money out of. There's probably not a lot of people like me. I know that for a fact. But, the more players like me there are in the game, the more likely this game will end up, biting the dust in the long run. Obviously, this is not going to happen anytime soon. But, people need to also understand the economy of these kinds of games sometimes, and who the real target audience is. Like, the target audience is people that want to play as Marvel superheroes and have fun and kick ass. Like, that's literally the goal of the game. And I understand the rank side of things. I play ranked. I'm in GM right now. I'm trying to climb to Celestial. And I happened at Celestial. So I'm not a chump that's, like, just saying things to say things and can't understand both sides of the argument here. Which brings me to the point of that very controversial and also partially useless to certain players thing here with the Galactus gift. So, right here we have the Chrono Shield cards that stirred up the Marvel's community like crazy. Like, unfortunately, they should have done this in-game. but they didn't, so they have to clarify it. They had to clarify it on on Twitter, I believe, actually. But just like the actual in-game Chrono Shield, this only applies up to gold. So basically, people that are in gold or below can basically just have a on demand a Chrono Shield, basically. And you only get 8. The craziest part here is the limit of 20. This made people of the higher ranks go nuts. Because this implies two things. Number one, they're only giving out 8, and there's a limit of 20. So, you know, they potentially correlated this to NetEase kind of like testing the waters to see how people would react to this item, to see if they could sell it. They already came out and said that they won't, but honestly, I would say that it's a won't for now. And some people will say like, oh, this only works until you're most until your gold. Like, yes, I understand that, and I understand that there is, you know, the actual Chrono Shield that exists already in the game. I know that exists, but this will only cause more issues in the long run for the comp side of things, because like, if people can keep getting these in any capacity consistently, like obviously this is not consistent right now, you can only get 8, and obviously you can't get more right now, but depending on how NetEase handles this, they could be kind of like weekly be giving these. If you can get these daily, that'd be crazier, which I don't think they should. Obviously, they put that 20 heart limit, but like someone that's decent at the game but not amazing could kind of like, you know, have these kind of like planned out and maybe reach, you know, plat, right? Plat is like the middling, getting closer to high tier, let's call it, on the comp side and rank scene. And this, you know, as people are complaining about rank inflation, this item just could make it worse in general. Because, you know, normally how the Chrono Shield works is after a loss, you get a certain percentage of this Chrono... I believe it's 4 losses will get you a full Chrono Shield. And you keep that Chrono Shield until your next loss. So if you have a Chrono Shield and you go on a win streak, you still have that Chrono Shield until you actually lose a game. So if you can kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like plan these out and use them sparingly enough, like you can probably assure your rank ups basically. Granted, the other reason that people were complaining about this was like I understand this is probably a thing, but I doubt people would use them these ways in general unless they truly do not care. You know, there's people that could troll and throw matches on purpose, you know, because they'll have the Chrono Shield and you might not, and they'll throw. But, you know, at that point, just report them if that's the case. Like, it sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't suck. But still, this would potentially encourage it, right? I would be more worried that they would be trying to sell it. But obviously, they clarified that the Chrono cards do not work on higher ranks, you know, Plat and beyond. And they also are not going to sell these. That still begs the question as to why the limit is 20. But nobody knows at this point. My guess is, at the moment at least, they'll probably be handing them out here and there through little, you know, like little gifts, or maybe through events as a small reward, like a smaller amount on that reward, like 1 or 2 instead of that 4. But yeah, something a bit worrisome. But anyways, going back to the more normal rank stuff. I don't know, like even with the slight changes that I think have occurred, maybe it's a placebo and I'm just going crazy. But you know, like we also have Like, I'll show you guys my comp matches for the last couple days. So we're going back to the 18th here. I played during the day for once. Actually, this was on Sunday, I think. Yeah, this was Sunday. And I got some losses, some wins, and slights. I streamed during this. That's why usually I don't let this happen, typically. Like, once I get 2 losses in a row, I tend to, like, be like, I'll do one more. If I lose again, I'm done. But since I was streaming, I was like, I'll just keep going, so. We had some big loss. Well, not big, but constant losses, unfortunately. And as you can see here, for this one, I played tank and DPS. This one, I only played support. Support. Hold on. Support. 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 Tank DPS. Support tank. Oh, that's the wrong person. Only support. And support. So as you can see here, like, it's... This one I played, this one I played tank DPS, right? And I lost 21. Whatever, right? That's very typical. This one I only lost 16. And I was only support. I've been hearing some things about how it's calculated now, which is character-based along with performance. So, like, from what I understand, since I only played Rocket, my performance was based off of all rockets that are in my rank. So, all the GM3 rockets, right? So, based on how I did, 18,000, 3 final hits, 6 deaths, I only lost 16. That's probably the smallest amount I've ever lost. Like, most of the time I was in the 20s for losses, but I think this is the smallest I've ever lost in a game. But here, the 21 plus, only rocket. 23 plus, only rocket. Then we go to the 19s here. Tank DPS. Support tank. Support tank. Only support. So, on all these, where I played at least a little bit of tank, I definitely lost less than only playing support. Which was this one, I believe. Yeah. Then we go to this 23. I only played rocket again. So, typically, like, I would say in general, let's see here. Yeah, like, with rockets, it's actually pretty hard to get final hits. I'm not gonna say it's super easy to do so. But as you can see, typically, if I get a win, mainly using rocket, my pluses have been 21 to 23. If we go over here to some more losses here. Actually, this is a very strange thing that I didn't think it was possible. So this game, we drawed. This is a draw game. And I played one of each. I played rocket for like the first round. I played DPS for the majority of the second round, and then I swapped to tank, and I played the rest of the game as tank. We drawed. I lost 2. Like, I don't count this as my lowest, because obviously this was not a loss. But I'm super, super, super surprised that a draw actually put me down. That, like, never happens. That made the draw feel even worse, because, like, on a draw, basically either no one should move at all, like, at the very least. But I'm very curious, because most of these I cannot see, right? Yeah, I think most of my teammates have their private profiles, which makes it very hard to compare. Well, let's see on the enemy. So this guy. I don't think we can go to that game specifically, probably, because, well, maybe if I time it right. So this was draw on the 20th, almost at 1 a.m. I play at Degen hours, I'm sorry. Anyways, let's go to this game again. So 20th. All right, I need to switch it to comp. That'll make things easier. Man, he played a lot on the 19th. Let's see. He's probably from a different area. So this one, the drop. He lost one. Granted, he played mostly support and tank. And a tank. So he lost one. Private. Oh, he hasn't played comp like at all for a while. He got +3. But guess what? He only played DPS. So, in the grand scheme of things, there's still something to be said about, you know, DPS have a slight advantage. Like he did the best out of his team by a long shot. As you could probably tell. Let's see, has this guy played recently? He got 0. So he stayed in the middle. Let's find out about the supports, if I can even see them. Nope. I would say, it surprises me how people are very scared to show their games. Like, I get it if you're, like, extreme high rank and you want to, you know, hide your stats, how well you're doing, who you're playing, like, I get it. But, you know, GM, Celestial, maybe even Eternity, it's like, like, whatever, like, play more characters if you know, like, feel like you're getting target banned. But anyways. Oh, actually, I should have not switched back. I got kind of, like, hard stuck on there. But anyways, these are yesterday. So this one was nutty, dude. Like, I tried pretty hard on this game, and we ended up losing, unfortunately. And I lost 21. As you can see, trying to remember how we lost this game specifically. I think it was mostly that this guy should have maybe not played Adam. I think he played Adam right off the bat, and it was just like, it was kind of tough to keep the heals going in general. That's the tough one about Adam. But anyway, we'll go to today's / slightly yesterday's games here. So this one I won. I was support. I played mostly Rocket. I played a tiny bit of Imbis towards the end, and then I was like, okay, we just need to play tank, like, because the people that played tank, yeah, we had a Strange and we had a Thor for a little while. They were doing all right with Thor. They just went triple support for some reason. But anyways, this game was like, I wasn't really involved. Well, I wasn't involved at all on this one in terms of the chat, but these guys were like arguing like crazy. I have voice off, but they were typing it up. Maybe I can even like bring it up if I scroll back enough. Oh, here we go. Found him. So, this guy, BP only. He started as Widow. And then this guy, he's like, oh yeah, I believe in you, probably sarcastically. And like, then the other guy, this guy played only Mantis the entire match, if I remember right. He's like, can you like kill someone? Because he was not doing very good as Widow, as you might have expected. So, and then this guy kicks it back by saying, hey, can you give me, because like, you know, he's kind of like shitting on him, like, your only job, no live, blah blah. And then he's like, he's just giving it back, like, oh, damage boost speed, that's your only job. Like, oh, dude, like, I hate these kinds of players. Like, both of them did alright. BP actually did really good when he started playing Psylocke, but my guys, just drop the ego and play. Like, this is the kind of player that I hate, because they had the most massive egos. And like, this guy was honestly throwing, and then he was like, oh my god, I decide if we win or lose. You'll see once I scroll down a little more. See, like, but this guy's still giving it back. Like, my charges are more valuable than you. Like, why, dude? Shitting on your teammates is never Gotta make them play better. Like, we're lucky that this guy didn't throw at the end. Then this guy kind of joined it, like, thanks, Widow. Like, and this guy's, like, it just kept going. You can pause. I'm just gonna keep scrolling by. I was like, okay, dude, like, we can just win, because this is where the round ended. We're 3-3, and I believe we had like a minute over the enemy team. So they were like, they're still complaining, dude. Like, we kicked ass on our attack, and these guys are still like, just like, oh my god, the Hela did more, and then BP only. It was like, dude, like, just quiet, play, and let's win. And they don't. This guy keeps shit talking him. And this guy just keeps, he starts throwing again by being Widow for the majority of the third round, actually. And the enemy team makes it all the way to the end. Right here, I think. Yeah. Although, I honestly feel this guy right here, he's like, I don't understand why you're choosing to make this impossible. And I'm like, okay, guys, we can win, but you guys need to, like, either mute each other or just let it go. And this guy's like, we can't win. Like, dude, we can. We literally beat them, essentially, on our attack compared to theirs. But it's just our team's just like, dude. And that's when I stopped getting involved, because these guys are just gonna keep going at it. But look at this. Like, you're lucky I'm even healing you. My guy. Like, just play. Oh, yeah, right here is, like, the last one. I think when this guy said we can't win, I was like, okay, dude, if we get to the end, we can win, because we're definitely better at defending than they are and attacking than they are. And then this guy hits it back like, I don't care about winning, bro. Then I was like, I can play comp then. You must like winning if you're playing comp, because you're pretty good. I'm not saying you're not good, like, at all. It's this guy, mostly these three. But anyways, then this guy hits him with this. I'm like, holy shit, dude. Okay, I'm done. They just kept going, dude. Until right here we win. But as you can see, this game went 7-6. That means we played 1 for the 3-0, 2 for the 3-3, 3 for the 3-6, 4 for the 6-6, 5 for the 6-6, 7 for the 7-6. We played 7 rounds. This game went on for 21 minutes. I don't think the majority of people would be able to handle these guys just going at each other for no good reason other than, like, oh my god, my teammate didn't do the thing I wanted them to do. That's the kind of player that's horrible to have in your game, even if they are good, because it just, like, makes the game drag on and on in a good, in a bad way, I mean, is what I meant to say. I mean, for a good, long, bad time. Like, even though I won, and I got 26 out of that game, mostly because I swapped to tank when no one really would. Oh, man, that was a rough game, because, like, we're just going, the teams were going back and forth in terms of, like, you know, getting to the end. Until finally BP's like, okay, fine, I'll play the character I'm actually good at, and we won. Like, we decisively won. Anyways, that's just the crazy story I have for that game. But after that game, I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna play tank, and the only one I didn't win was this one, mostly because we unfortunately didn't have the greatest DPS or the greatest comp. Like, my healers were fine, and this guy was getting kills, but this guy unfortunately was not jumping the right people. He played Hulk to support, I believe, yeah, this guy and this guy. These guys played the Gamma team up for a little bit. And it was working for a while, but then it kind of, like, fell off, so they got off of it. And then he switched to Captain America. And I feel like at that point, he wasn't really helping me very much. I only played Emma. And this guy just stopped getting kills, unfortunately. Final blows is what I mean by kills. I never look at this number primarily. I look at this one, which is actually important. But yeah, that's just how it went. This guy did pretty good. Reason he's MVP, he's actually getting kills. But yeah, that's the only game I lost though, because we won the next one. I've been having. Let me see here actually. Oh no, this was the game that we lost. The other one was still a little iffy, to be honest. This one, but this one that we lost. Now I remember what happened on this one. That's why this guy played Captain America as well, and they had a hard dive team, to be honest. They were diving with Cap and Black Panther, holding line with Emma, and these three were just well. Their Mantis was also diving along with them actually. But as you can see, the main difference maker was their supports dying less than ours. That's mainly the thing. That's why I switched to DPS to try to start killing their supports, because I was Emma for the majority of that match. Unfortunately, this guy switched to the thing for a while. Like, he was Punisher and he was doing okay. But as you can also see, he died way more in general than the rest of our team, and even the enemy team. So yeah, that just did not result very well on our, like, at all. But I wanted to see if I can get some other opinions. Like, I've talked to some people. They definitely feel that, you know, like, I'll go to some of the places I've been asking around for, like, what they think about this whole thing. Like, I get it. Teammates are, you know, very variable a lot of the time, especially with the whole rank inflation thing that did pretty much happen. But honestly, it only really affects the middle to lower ranks, I guess, because, you know, like, people that reached GM last season got dropped down to plat, right? Like, if you were like, well, actually no, if you're GM, you got dropped to like gold. Yeah, I think that's about right, because I was Celestial 3, I got dropped to plat 1, if I remember right, somewhere around there. So people that were in GM got dropped to gold, which means anyone that didn't even rank up at all, like, or hit silver and stayed silver, like, it's just a massive influx of people in the lower ranks that probably felt that they didn't belong there, but stayed there in this season because of how much the point systems got put against them if they were a support main and didn't really learn how to play support correctly. But, you know, it's just a bunch of different things to think about, especially if you want to actually rank up. Like, I feel like a lot of people that play ranked and just bash their heads against the wall, they get angry at their teammates, or like they understand how they like the rest of the characters on their team should be playing, but they're just not, because, you know, some people learn this game differently, and some people just want to jump straight to rank, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but like, the thing about ranked is people want to have fun and win, which, you know, this can be very hard to achieve if your teammates, unfortunately, like, don't have the same mindset, right? Like, I have a weird mindset in general, honestly, to be frank, in these games. Like, I play for fun, even if I'm playing in a ranked setting, but I'm not gonna, like, purposely, like, play characters that I'm not good at. Like, that's just, like, making it not fun for other people. And, you know, I'm probably not in the majority when I try to, like, make people have peace with each other. Like, you saw what I typed in that one match. I explained that, you know, one person was essentially almost throwing our match for not a very good reason. They just felt like playing Widow for shits and giggles. And then they started trash talking each other. It's like, dude, just play, please, because I know you can do this. Because they were like they, I'm not gonna go back to it, but as I said, like they played Psylocke pretty good, but they were throwing for like our first point defense for whatever reason. I'll never know, because I'll probably never run into that player again, and I'm not gonna friend them to just ask them. It's just crazy to do something like that. But yeah, I've talked a lot. I've been all over the place with all this Marvel talk. Maybe I'll do another one of these. Maybe I'll make it for a different game discussion. Maybe some completely unrelated discussion. Might not even be about games. But hopefully I can get like someone to talk with me. Granted, I managed to actually talk by myself for like an hour almost, which is not something I do very often. I'm usually a very chill and quiet gamer. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and subscribe, and please let me know if you enjoyed this kind of rambly kind of talking video. I never really done this kind of video, so I'm curious to see if people will actually like me to talk more. But yeah, that's all I got for now. But please, definitely let me know if you like these kinds of videos. Also, if you do, what topics or what games or anything really would you like me to actually talk about? I just have a decent amount of knowledge of Rivals since I play it quite a bit. I'm not the crazy streamer that plays it every single day for 8 hours a day. No. I typically don't even play ranked on stream, because it puts a weird pressure that I don't really need. When I play ranked, at least, like, I'll gladly play quick play with my friends on stream and have fun and do goofy shit. But ranked, I don't need the extra pressure. Like, yes, I understand that people would like to watch me do my, like, serious play. But you already get that off my QP, to be honest. I don't really play any differently than I do in quick match compared to to ranked play, to be honest. If you watch the one stream, like, you'll see the difference of play from my teammates probably. And I typically just play the same way I do in quick play and ranked, just maybe a little bit more cautious if I'm playing like support, or if I'm playing DPS, I'll try to make plays with my ult compared to like when I'm playing on the quick play. Like, for example, like if I'm Iron Man, I'm just gonna go for the shits and giggles, like Hail Mary ult here and there, or maybe try to like get the crazy multi-kill ult with Iron Man on quick play that I probably would not try to do on ranked. I would just save it for a support ult to counter. That's like the only real difference. Same with tanking. I would probably focus more on pushing them away from my team and moving the objective than I would be like consistently trying to get kills, but that's pretty much the only real differences. Anyways, I'm rambling even more so now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe if you did. Leave a nice comment, leave a mean comment. That is all up to you, and it's alright with me. Hopefully we'll have another one of these videos, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.